Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, iRacers, and welcome to Apex Racing TV and a special event here from the...
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not...
Greetings, race fans, and welcome to Apex Racing TV's presentation of the Radical Esports Cup. J.R. Gregory here with you on the call. Beside me in my commentary booth, my partner Aaron Smith, and in the production carrier, our good friend and colleague Joshua Wilkie. And the starter of today's show, the fantastic Radical SR10. Folks, this is one of the purest sports car experiences on iRacing, propelled by a 450 horsepower four-cylinder turbo and weighing a full 1,000 pounds less than MX-5 Cup car. No traction control, no anti-lock brakes. The SR10 is a handful, but mastering this car will make you better at every car that you drive. And folks, we are showing the top split of the public server here, 2100 GMT Friday, as we do every week. So this is not a private event, not a league event. If you'd like to give these fantastic SR10s a whirl, go ahead and practice up, show up, sign up, and if you make the top split, you will appear with us here on Apex Racing TV with some of the best Radical drivers in the world, and the upcoming schedule is awesome. Next week's Netterton, then Gilles Villeneuve, Daytona Road Course, Phillip Island, Okayama, Brands Hatch, Catalonia, Long Beach, and the season finale at the Nordschleife. So a fantastic schedule ahead, and this week, as you can see, we are at Spa. We're 2025 Season 1, Week 3, and this track is in the Belgian countryside outside the municipality of Stavelo. Began life as a racing circuit comprised of public roads, hosting its first race back in 1922. And yeah, you heard that right. Over 100 years of racing here in the area. 1924, the first 24-hour race was held here. And in 1925, the first Grand Prix. So we're almost at 100-year anniversary of Formula One racing here in the Belgian countryside. Currently, obviously, host to Formula One, World Endurance Championship, and the European Le Mans Series. This configuration, 4.3 miles, 7 clicks, 20 corners, and the current record looks like Checo Perez did a 144.7 this past year in F1. So, Aaron, for me, there's a couple keys to victory here at Spa. One of them is to keep the car clean. Spa is a track that can attract drivers that are unfamiliar with the SR10. They show up because it's at Spa that they feel they have some special expertise or special interest in, and that can make things messy. So you got to keep it clean. And to me, the second main key of the race was we watch Jorge Gonzaga right here navigate the Lacombe chicane. The second key to a race here at Spa is making the outside pass into a couple of chicanes. One of them, Lacombe, that we just saw, and at the bus stop, because there's a huge draft at this track. The tendency is for defending drivers to try to cover the inside. That leaves the outside open, and if you want to make something happen, you got to make it happen around the outside, and it's utterly doable. We've seen some epic moves around the outside over the years, and we're going to see more of them today. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's just about going for those bold moves, but at the same time, it's a lot of risk and not much reward, considering, like you were saying, the draft at this track and in this car is just so powerful. You really got to be on your toes, and it's going to be about mind games, I think, here today more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great strategery is likely to unfold, and there is your starting grid. Luis Tavares, not a familiar name to me, and he may be one of those Spa specialists who has shown up just for this event. We'll take the poll at a blazing 2:11.8. That is nuts. Ryan Odo will be right next to him in P2. In the next row, Friedrich next to Christoph Lipp, another one of our resident aliens here. Havard Gullikson and Andre Castro will be 5 and 6. Castro also smoking fast. Kim Andre Björklund will be next to Lasse Sorensen in 7 and 8. In the next row, Myron Iani next to Kjetil Larsen. James Barry all the way back there in P11. He's usually at the pointy end, so we'll keep an eye on him. He'll be wanting to move up. He'll be next to Heinz Braun there in P12. The next row, Samir Kadura and Sali Raitanen in 13 and 14. Leon Hernandez will be next to Mika Hulkinen in 15 and 16. Dennis Karakopoulos will be in P17 next to George Gonzaga in P18. Gordon Haug next to Johannes Hesterman in the last row, 19 and 20. And boy, we had a lot of cars signed up for this one. This is the top of 3 splits. So we're definitely seeing the cream of the crop here right now. Some of the best drivers in the world here to entertain you. And this race is going to be underway in just a moment. iRacing will force the start here in about 30 seconds. We're missing the pole sitter right now, Tavares. He'll be taking up that empty spot you see on the left of your screen, and bang, there he is with the bus stop in the background. So this start will be a mad dash down this short pit straightaway into La Source hairpin, and we'll see if these drivers can get through clean. And Tavares getting a great start, and Odo getting a terrible one. It's going to be Tavares from Friedrich, from Christoph Lipp, with some side-by-side action into La Source. Clean so far, and looking good as we head down the hill into Eau Rouge for the first time.
Yeah, weirdly, very clean at the start. So not used to seeing that here at Turn 1 at Spa, but up they go through Eau Rouge and Radion. That's a check up. That was awfully close for Lasse Sorensen, nearly running into the back of Andre Castro. But this is where we are going to see the moves happening on the Kemmel Straight, down into the Lacombe chicane. And, well, it's just going to be lap after lap of battling. And here's already a move for the lead for Andreas Friedrich. The outside line, like you were talking about, Gregory. Is it going to work this time round for the German? I don't think so, but he's going to give it a damn good go. And, wow, he proved me wrong right round the outside at turn 9. And that's the lead of the race for one of the most experienced drivers on the grid. And, well, I mean, I'll be surprised if he can keep it over the next few laps. But, wow, that's exactly what you were talking about, Gregory, from a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, epic start by Friedrich. Friedrich really good at getting off the line. My inside information tells me he's got a really good clutch setup that is dialed in for these radicals, and he often shows it and showed it there. Moved up 2 positions just in that first little bit of the race. Now it's Friedrich from Tavares from Gullikson. Kim Andre Björklund also moved up 3 positions into number 4, and Christoph Lipp falls to P5. And yeah, you mentioned Sorensen having to check up there. Not only did he check up, he had to cut the chicane there, and I know that cost him a slowdown, and that is going to hurt. Here we are riding along with James Barry. He's already moved up from a kind of poor qualifying position of P11 up into P7, and up ahead of him, his rival for the championship last season, Andre Castro, also didn't put on a great qualifying show. And actually, this is 3 of our best drivers here right in a row. That's Lipp in the orange car up ahead of Castro. So some of our very best and very fastest drivers. And look at that move. Oh my goodness. Almost.
Oh, someone drowned.
Through there. Almost. Oh my gosh. I might want to see that again. That was a really ballsy attempt there on Lipp that did not quite bear fruit. But my goodness, these drivers getting aggressive early, only lap 2 of 11. But Aaron, the problem with this track is you got to stay with that front train. The draft is so powerful. If you miss the train, you are definitely going to be late for work. And here we are. Here's a replay of Barry. You see Sorensen having to check up there, slowing down to take his slowdown, and Barry feasting on some low-hanging fruit, and that's where he instantly gets his 4 positions. Oh my goodness, James Barry, always the opportunist, and showing it there.
Yeah, that was some brilliant moves by James Barry. They're just weaving his way past traffic like it was on the motorway or something. Easy peasy for him. And yeah, we saw that move that I think it was Castro tried on Lipp that went not to plan going into the last few corners. Also, Gullikson has managed to get himself into the lead. I imagine he got a huge boost coming down the Kemmel Straights, and it looks like it. Honestly, being in third coming up at Rouge and Radion is actually one of the better places to be, because you can see here, you just get such a launch off of the 2 cars in front of you. And, well, right round the outside again for the lead of the race, and Gullikson into first place. And, well, he'll probably be the one ending up in third by lap 3. But at least he can say he's led a lap so far. But amazing racing up and down the field we've seen. Not too much contact. I think only Iani, Hernandez, and Cadora have had their own incidents. I think Iani had a bit of an off at the last corner, and it looks like Hesterman now has joined them. And now we're down to 16 cars in the race, but still the top 11 only covered by about 4 seconds.
Yeah, too right, Aaron, and that was a great bit of camera work showing that replay of Gullikson taking the lead there. The draft here, comically strong, and I was out here earlier in practice, and I put down a couple laps, and the first lap where I finally got a draft there on the Kemmel Straight, it took 1.5 seconds off of my lap time. That's how extreme the slipstream is in these radicals on those long straightaways. And here's a contested entry into La Source. Little side-by-side action. Usually don't see it this late in the race. They kind of tend to line up, but still fighting in the middle of the field there, riding along with Kettle Larson. That's Larson looking ahead at Castro and Barry. And Larson's managed to claw his way up 1 position here, and we'll see what he can do with this draft. Andre Castro ahead of him. Very, very fast driver, and Castro weaving a little bit, not making it really clear how he's going to defend. Looks like he's going to take the normal line, leaving the inside open. Oh, and there is Lipp. More problems from him. My goodness, and he schnitzeled that one right off of the track into the kitty litter. So this race not unfolding well at all for Lipp, who had a bad qualifying by his standards. Certainly pretty good to qualify in the top 10 with this strength of field, but Lipp now sitting in P10, having lost 6. So Christoph Lipp struggling here in the Belgian countryside.
It does feel like everyone's just kind of flim-flamming all over the place, and that was just far too deep for Christoph Lipp. And like you said, a bit of a disappointing race for him so far, having started on the second row of the grid, now all the way down to 10th place and really doesn't look to have the confidence around this track at the moment, as Bjorklund now goes into 4th. He's shown some amazing progress over the last few seasons, constantly getting quicker and quicker, and this seems to be one of the best starts to a season that he's had yet, and well, he might be in contention for the lead of the race, but needs to keep in that slipstream. He's nearly falling out within reach of the top 3, and I wonder if Heinz Braun and Barry are going to choose to fight this one, or they can see that clearly they need to do some teamwork and catch up to the drivers ahead. But it looks like Heinz Braun looking down the inside, but didn't go for the move in the end. Ooh. And Braun looking very feisty there. I mean, he is up, what's that, 7 places? It was 8, but lost out to that place from the Norwegian, and I think that they are nearly out of the slipstream. They have to be incredibly careful.
Yeah, they absolutely do, and that gap is growing up front, and you start to kind of lose contact around 0.8, 0.9 maybe, and now we see it looks like Castro is bump drafting Barry. He has realized that front group is getting away and wants to work with Barry to close down that gap and get back up with the front runners, and we'll see what the cars ahead of them are going to do here. And Barry going way around, using that little push from Lip, trying to get it past the number 6 car there. That's Castro. And yeah, and he's going to get that move done, and looks like he's going to take Lip with him. And so their little strategy of working together on the Kemmel Straight looks to have paid off, as they have both moved up, and that will put Barry up into P4, up 7 positions here from his qualifying position already, only lap 4 of 11.
Yeah, he's on an absolute flyer. We saw already on that lap 1 that he just flew past everyone, and is now doing it in the mid stages of the race as well. But like I said, with all that battling going on for that 4th place, it's just opened up that gap between them and Friedrich, and it could be too much. We'll have to see what happens over the next lap or two, as well, if something can happen to the front guys. And oh my lord, Castro, that is playing with fire, and that's kind of put Braun off, who had to go wide there at turn 15. And well, that was a very, very good save by Andre Castro, but clearly was that a bit of contact there with Bjorklund. I think Sorensen might have just hit him up the rear. I'm not sure. It definitely sounded like it. And, well, they're very, very close to one another as Bjorklund gets close to Braun as well. Round the outside at the final corner. Castro also under pressure from Braun. This looks to be rather tragic, as Bjorklund manages to sneak his way up the inside and tries his best to get past Heinz Braun, as Sorensen gave him a little bit of a nudge through those final few corners. And Bjorklund and Castro and Braun all very, very close to one another. Sorensen trying to get involved as well. It's so hard to keep up with this. They're all going side by side, bump drafting each other, making contact. And by the way, that gap at the top that I was talking about seems to have come down, and it looks like we're going to have a 8-car battle for the lead nearly. I mean, look how close all of them are together as we head onto the Kemmel Straight once again. Who's going to be in the lead once we get down to turn 7, 8 and 9? It could actually be Tavares this time as well. He hasn't really led since the first lap. And there you go, the Brazilian back into the lead finally, and gets ahead of Friedrich and Sorensen for the lead of the race, but they've got some company with them now.
Yeah, and incredible how one lap of teamwork between last season's championship rivals Barry and Castro, little strategic bump drafting, and they have closed down at what was almost a 2-second gap, and they are now right there in the lead. And look at that train of cars. Oh my goodness, I love these radical races, Aaron, and we are seeing some of the best of it right now of all of our top drivers nose to tail at this point early on in the race.
It's absolutely fantastic stuff, and this is what you get at Spa with these radicals. The dirty air isn't too powerful to the point where you lose a huge amount of time, but the slipstream is oh so powerful, and especially at a track which has, well, what, 2 or 3 long straights that open up for some amazing racing, and that's exactly what we're getting here today. I mean, anyone inside that top 11 has a realistic chance of still winning this. I mean, anything can happen over these next 6 laps once we cross the line. And, you know, slight bit of contact, maybe a bit of a checkup from a driver, a slowdown or anything. And one driver can jump up 5, 6, 7 places if they're that lucky. as Tavares thought about going defensive into those last few corners, but didn't really need to do so from Gullickson. And well, you can see just they all look like tiny little ants down there at Spa, just all of them chasing after the same thing. And well, I mean, it's anyone's guess who's going to end up in the lead of this one at the end of these 11 laps. I would not advise betting on these races because, well, you're probably going to end up losing some kind of money. I'd cash out now if I were you, as we head through Rouge and Raidillon for the 6th time. And it probably is going to be Friedrich, I suspect, leading at the end of the Kemmel Straight, as, like I said before, the man in third just has such a big advantage with dual slipstream, basically, as they're going 3 wide for the lead of the race. And there you go. There's Friedrich making his way into the lead of the race once again. And it's just flip-flopping places every single lap. But the last lap or two is where we're really going to see some elbows.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of what these guys are thinking, they kind of have to plan ahead on when they want to make their move. I don't think you really want to be in first place on the white flag lap going down the Kemmel Straight for obvious reasons. And Josh, maybe we can in a second get a look at our interval screen. I'm looking at it on my timing tower that I have here on the side, and the top 11 cars all have red. There it is. That's that fantastic SDK software. So any interval under 1/2 of a second, 0.5, is colored orange there. And you can see the top 11 cars covered by very, very short intervals. I can say in all my years calling this, I have never seen the front of a race stacked up like that. This is awesome.
It's what you get here at Spa every single time we come here in the Radicals. It's just the same story all the time. And well, for drivers, it's very, very frustrating. But as spectators and commentators and whatnot, it's extremely entertaining. And that's exactly what we're going to get today. And we are doing, as Bjorklund, I believe he might have had a bit of an incident somewhere. As this is him actually getting past Sorensen, I think, as he had a bit of a mishap in the Lacombe chicane. And well, these drivers have had thousands of laps here at Spa, I'm suspecting. So everyone's got plenty of practice. Everyone knows Spa. Everyone's kind of on the same pace. It's just about being at the right place at the right time. As Barry, I just noticed that he's had a bit of an off somewhere. This seems to be at the last corner. He was making such good progress. And into the final corner we go. Has he been tapped somewhere? Oh, that was Andre Castro. Just a slight tap, got too close to him, and that's rather spoiled James Barry's race, as he was having an absolute stormer heading into lap 7. But unfortunately, as we're getting very close to the lead of the race, is Gullickson now is the top man at here at Spa, and Friedrich and Tavares just battling now for second place, picking up those scraps. And well, he led going on to the Kemmel Straights, and very surprising that he actually managed to keep it, as Friedrich getting oh so close. But the outside line, we've seen it work for Gullickson and Friedrich, but this time Gullickson was the one to win out in terms of that battle.
Yeah, really fantastic stuff. And gosh, feel sorry for Barry. He's all the way back down to his qualifying position of 11th. And he had to believe at this point in the race that he actually had a shot at victory sitting in P4. But that little tap from Castro turned him in the bus stop. And now he's got his work cut out for him again with only 5 laps remaining. So up front, it's Gullickson from Friedrich, from Bjorklund, from Tavares, from Lip. And again, there's our colored intervals. Look at all those amber colored intervals, shorter than 0.5, and even the yellow are between 0.5 and 1 second. So cars still stacked up front, and Gullickson's lead nowhere near safe. And I would say anybody from Sorensen ahead has a real fair shot at winning this before it's over due to the epic slipstream in these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. I just noticed as well that Castro, I think, made a mistake at turn 14 where he made one a few laps ago, and he dropped a place or two as Barry trying to get past, I believe that's Reitsonen, just about going around the outside, and up to 10th he goes as he makes a second comeback of the day. Can he make his way all the way back up to 4th? Bit of a tall order, but not impossible, as Castro really has backed off completely from the cars ahead. I'm not quite sure if he's just made a slight mistake on this last lap, but he's really opened up the gap to the cars in front. You can see just how massive of a gap as we're going 4 wide on the Kemmel Straight, and somehow we've all made it through absolutely cleanly. That was brilliant stuff from, I think that was Sorensen, Braun, Lip and Larson, all battling it out for the same piece of tarmac, and somehow they've all managed to come away with their 4 wheels intact, as Barry now, like he did on the first few laps, picking his way through the field, but can't quite manage to do as well this time and stays in 10th place. And it's just a battle between the top 4 now, as Castro has, well, kind of bottlenecked everyone else.
Yeah, Castro holding up that second group with that gap forward to Bjorklund, reaching about 2.5 seconds right now. So these guys are pretty far out of it, and maybe permanently so. But my goodness, Aaron, 4 wide into Lacombe, you know, why the hell not? And that's one of the fun things about watching this group. It's consistent group of drivers week in and week out. They practice together. They spend a lot of time driving together, and that leads to a lot of trust. And Josh is going to show us a replay of that 4 wide action now, and that is just nuts. I mean, I guess you could fit a 5th car in there maybe if you planned it ahead of time, but holy cow, that fantastic driving by everybody involved.
I'm surprised none of them realized that they were 4 wide, and I suspect one of them would have backed out. I don't think there's a voice line for your crew chief that says you're 4 wide, at least I don't think so. I think it's just 3, and then his mind is just completely boggled from that point onwards, as Larson has lost the place to Barry now as he continues his progress back up the field. He's up to 9th now, and looking at his sights ahead at Christoph Lipp, as Sorensen now leads this train all the way from 5th all the way down to 11th place, and it's still just the top 4 battling it out. Tavares, Bjorklund, Gullikson and Friedrich, and well, honestly, we might get 4 wide sometime sooner or later, as Tavares trying to go around the outside for the lead of the race, and that really does seem to be the favourite move at the Lacombe chicane, and that could prove oh so important for those final few laps. And so that's something that you kind of do realise watching this race, is the first kind of 9 or 10 laps is just practice, to be honest. And if you get crashed into or whatever, it's just unlucky as well. Speaking of, I think Sorensen has just fallen victim to that, as he's fallen outside of the top 10. And now it's just between 5th and 10th for that 5th place spot. And I think he might have gone off at Lacombe at some point and might have even gotten a slowdown as well. I think I heard some angry voices on the comms in iRacing, and we can see here this is after the Lacombe chicane actually, and this is coming down to Brussels at turn 10, and Castro with yet more contacts. That's it's really not been a clean race for him, has it?
It hasn't, and you know, my Norwegian is a little rusty, but Sorensen definitely throwing some throwing some angry commentary toward Castro there, and Castro elbows out. He may be a little frustrated, didn't qualify that well, started working his way toward the front, had a mistake and fell back down. So rough and tumble race here for many of our faster drivers. And meanwhile, up front, we're on lap 9 of 11, about to cross start finish right now. That's Tavares sitting in P1 right now. So 2 to go. It's Tavares from Friedrich, from Gullikson, from Bjorklund, from Braun. And the gap coming down a little, but we're still kind of dealing with that split that kind of was caused by Castro holding up the back part of that top 10 there for a few laps. So we'll see if these guys have anything left, or if all the action is going to be up front. It may turn out to be between Tavares, Friedrich, and Gullikson. And we know that Friedrich is not shy, as Larson doing a little lawn mowing there on the Kemmel Straight, well over 150 miles an hour. But you know, why not? And here we go. Here's that outside line. And as we've been discussing, expertise at Spa requires that move, man. You have to have it. It's very tough. but that is your advanced spot technique. And another turn, and that is Lip off into the kitty litter, and this one getting a little uglier.
Yeah, I just think it's the frustrations boiling and everyone getting a bit annoyed at each other, that the gaps are opening up. There's been, like you said, a bit more contact over these past 2 or 3 laps, and it is just boiling over, I think, for a lot of the drivers that have had a bit of a tough time, like Barry, like Lip, like Castro. Some of the more experienced drivers that we're used to seeing doing very, very well. This is the first bit of contact we saw with Castro and Raitanen earlier on, and then you can see further up, that's where Lip got absolutely punted by, I believe that's Lawson, I think, heading into turn 10. And it's just contact after contact and 4x after 4x. I don't really want to check people's safety rating after this race, to be honest, let alone some people's iRacing, like Lip, drivers with 5 or 6k or even more. God, they're going to be feeling the punishment today as well. The long, grueling fight for these last 10 laps is over, and now we're on to pretty much the only lap that matters, the white flag, lap 11. Here we go then. Those top 3 are going to be fighting it out throughout this entire next 2 and a bit minutes. And, well, honestly, like I said earlier, they're just pushing the limits of that Radical through every single corner. But they do that only to get slipstreams down the next straight.
Yeah, and some great camera work there by Josh, showing you that replay of Friedrich going way wide on exit into the kitty litter. And Friedrich really can flog that Radical, and it makes him fast, but it also is risky. And we've seen him have more than one incident in the late going. And there is Tavares taking Gullikson behind him, and just like that, like I said, you don't want to be in P1 on your last trip down the Kemmel Straight, and Friedrich will lose 2 positions there. So now Tavares from Gullikson, from Friedrich, Bjorklund and Braun are the top 5, and Barry pushing his way forward, still not giving up. He's reached P6, up 5 from his qualifying, but obviously the leader's well away from him. And the question now is Gullikson going to have a shot at Tavares into the bus stop, his last real opportunity for the win here? And we'll see if he's happy resting, sitting in P2, or if he wants a crack at Tavares. That 0.5 gap, you can make that up on that long straightaway approaching Blanchimont.
Honestly, it's a real gamble who's going to win this one, and I don't even think the drivers are fully aware of the stakes that are at hand. And I just think Gullikson might be just a tiny bit too far back. I do mean by half a tenth or something, but I mean, the slipstream is so powerful in this car that you just never know. I mean, look at how quickly he is gaining on Tavares. Is it going to be a late send into the final corner? We are about to find out. He is gaining extremely quickly. It's going to have to be a dive bomb if it's going to matter, but it just isn't enough. And like I said, it was just half a tenth or so. Too little, too late for Gullikson, which means it's Tavares winning out here at Spa-Francorchamps. And that was a grueling but entertaining 12 laps here in Belgium. And, well, I mean, some drivers probably absolutely hate this circuit, but as us, the commentators, and as you, the spectators, we all love it, and I wish we could come here every week.
Yeah, that was really something, and some really strong defense by Tavares there at the end. He made some subtle moves right to left to try to break the draft, but not the extreme weaving that we sometimes see. It's actually considered blocking by iRacing. So great defense by Tavares. Gullikson just not quite close enough, and actually kudos to Gullikson for not just trying to stuff in there, because some different drivers that we see on this grid might have tried to dive bomb the entry to that bus stop. But man, oh man, what a fantastic race here at Spa. I love coming here, and this is one of the better ones that we've seen the last couple of seasons. So yeah, it is going to be Tavares taking the win, and as we wait for the last couple cars to cross the line, we'll get those results together for you, and Aaron will have those for you. I'll take a look outside, see if we have anyone waiting to talk to us.
It's always weird when you see the more experienced and good drivers doing a really, well, not awfully, but just having such a tough time. Like we saw Barry, Castro, Christoph Lipp and some other drivers as well, really just not getting on well here at all at Spa, but it just adds to the entertainment factor. And, well, like I said, the drivers I don't think will want to come here anytime soon, and they'll be very glad that we can move as far away from Belgium as humanly possible. But nonetheless, that was a fantastic end to the race. And like you said, with Gullickson, I was fully expecting him to send it up the inside there, but he didn't. And you got to have respect for a driver to kind of know when he's beat, and didn't send it completely into the last corner and ruin both their races. So fair play to Gullickson for being very, very sportsmanlike. And, well, all of our drivers have now officially crossed the line, and we can get the final results here at Spa over these last 11 or so laps. And it's Luis Tavares ending up as your winner. And like Gregory mentioned, not a familiar name to me, but even better, a new driver coming in and absolutely whipping the rest of the field, a new one. And, well, congratulations to him. A very, very good performance today, as Gullickson finished in second place, Andreas Friedrich in third, Kim-Andre Bjorklund a lowly fourth place in the end, which is just a little too far away from the top three. Heinz Braun kind of was in no man's land for those last few laps in fifth. James Barry with his second comeback from, 11th to 4th, back to 11th, and then ended up 6th. So fair play to James. That was a tough race for him. As Larson finished in 7th place, Castro with a difficult one in 8th, Lasse Sorensen in 9th, Gordon Haug in 10th, Sauli Raitinen in 11th, Christoph Lipp down there in 12th place, Denny Kirikopoulos in 13th place, Ryan Odo in 14th, George Gonzaga in 15th, Holken in 16th, Iani 17th, Esterman in 18th, and then Hernandez and Cadora in 19th and 20th place.
All right, there are your results. Thank you, Aaron. And I'm going to say the man of the hour. I mean, Tavares definitely had a good drive, but Havard Gullickson is in the booth with us here, your P2 finisher. And Havard, we were just discussing that you kind of took discretion being the better part of valor there. That last entry to the bus stop, I think you could have elected to try to stuff it in there, and you did not do that, and kind of kept everybody in one piece and maintained that podium finish. So what a fantastic race. How did that race look from your seat?
It was a very good race. I didn't expect to have this pace, but I was lucky with a good quali lap and stayed out of trouble. And the last corner, I was a bit too far back, so it would be a kamikaze attempt if I would try to get him there, so I didn't take any chances, and very happy with P2.
Yeah, I had to say it was, I hope you have a chance to watch the broadcast, because for the vast majority of that race, the top 11 cars, each of them had no more than about a half-second gap in front and behind. So really highly competitive stuff here. I think there were 3 splits, 60 cars signed up. So really fantastic racing today. And as you look forward, we're going to be visiting an unusual track for the Radicals, Snetterton. So do you have any thoughts about that as we prepare for next week?
Honestly, I don't know if I have raced the track before, so I have to check it out. I like most tracks if it's twisty, and because this track is a very, very nice track, but with these cars you get so much draft, and it's impossible to leave the other guys. I had 0.8 or 0.9 to Friedrich at one point, I think, but no, he caught me up. So that's just the way the track is.
Well, you should enjoy Snetterton. That is a old school track from the UK. It's small, windy, and technical. So sounds like that could be right up your alley. But in any event, as we conclude here, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Yes, of course, you guys who are always putting on a nice and good show and broadcasting. I always watch the replays, maybe 1 and 2 and 3 times sometimes. So that's very nice. And of course, a shout to my teammates Kjetil Larsen and Lasse Sørensen, who got a bit unlucky this race, and all others at IGL and Coatings and Sande Trafikkskole.
All right, very good. Well, Thavard Gulliksen, P2, congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you next week. Bye.
All right, Aaron, it looks like we have the winner here, so I'll go ahead and pull in Luis Tavares for you.
Well, it'll be lovely to have a chat with our race winner today, Tavares. It's an absolute honour to have you here talking with us. And, well, it wasn't an easy race for, well, anyone, but somehow you managed to end up winning that one. So just talk us through your feelings.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it was actually a big surprise. I'm happy to be here, happy to be participating in that race. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really, really tough, since you had to have a lot of patience because we knew that the slipstream was just too strong. So we had to be careful to be in first place, like not trying to open the last lap in first place. Yeah, I managed to do so, and worked out perfectly. I'm very happy with the win, and yeah, it was a big surprise. I didn't know that it was going to be broadcasted. Ryan told me, and yeah, I had a great time. So I want to thank everyone that made this happen, and yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Well, it's kind of seems like you answered most of the questions that I was going to ask in my head. But yeah, I was just going to ask, the mentality coming here at Spa, it is completely different from any other track, isn't it, because of that slipstream?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had to be very, very patient, and not just letting the emotions carry you over. So I had to breathe a lot. So yeah, but it was just good fun. Sometimes I actually thought that maybe the race was lost, but since it was too much slipstream, we were able to just come back, and yeah, worked out perfectly. I'm very happy with the win.
Yeah, as you should be. It was a great display by yourself and Gulliksen and Friedrich for that battle consistently every single lap. And well, if you do decide to come to another one of these races, we've got Snetterton in 1 week's time. And I don't know if that track will be particularly very popular. Even as a Brit, I'm not a huge fan of Snetterton, to be honest. But will we see you there, or maybe sometime later in the season?
Maybe yes. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it, and I'm hoping to do a lot more races. So yeah, maybe. I'm looking forward to it. I try my best.
Well, I mean, if you try your best, it might end up similar to today. You might just come away with another win as well. And well, thank you very much for coming and having a quick chat with us, Tavares. And before we let you go, anyone you want to give a mention or shout out to?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to thank my friends, everyone that tried to watch the race, and yeah, shout out to everyone who's watching. Thank you very much for. I hope you guys enjoyed the race, and yeah, Aaron, thank you very much, and looking forward to the next one.
Well, we very much enjoyed the race. It was an absolute pleasure to watch and to talk to you, Tavares, and well, good luck for the rest of the season if you decide to come back.
Thank you very much.
All right, and that was our winner, Luis Tavares, and one more competitor here waiting in the interview room, and I'm going to have him speak on behalf of some of our very fast drivers who had some bad turns of luck today. We have Ryan Odo with us, and Ryan, both yourself, Christoph Lipp, and a few other of our very fastest radical drivers, this race just didn't go well. There were some elbows out here and there, and some mistakes being made where we normally don't see them. So a little bit messy from our perspective. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it was just, for me, I feel like it was luck. Tell me if I'm wrong, but from my point of view, I thought part of it was luck. I got unlucky with a slowdown, which pushed me back into the field, and then I got tangled up with a fight with a couple other guys, and added a bunch of damage and just kept me out of the race. I haven't checked Christoph's and the other guy's race at all, but I bet it was just being unlucky. He was trying to maybe go for a move and got shut out, and then spun out. I don't know, but I think with these races, a lot of things have to go right to win, but for a very long shot, it's not just luck to win. Those guys that won very fast, I think it was Luis's qualifying time, 11.844. That was absolutely insane. And, well, you also got to know racecraft, but sometimes there's things that you just can't control, and I think that's probably what happened to Christoph.
Yeah, there was definitely some wild lap times during that when we almost got into the 210s, just a couple of ticks off of that. So crazy stuff. And Ryan, thanks for coming by and sharing your positive attitude. Frankly, I think you qualified in P2 and ended up losing 12 positions during that race. So but we know that you're a very fast driver. We're hoping to see you back. We're used to seeing you up on the podium and you're used to being up there. So thanks for coming by and checking in with us. And as we conclude, is there anyone you would like to shout or give a thank out to today?
Well, thank you. I want to give a shout out to everyone who's running this. I'd like to thank them all for putting this on. Absolutely amazing. I love doing these races. I'd like to thank you commentators for commentating, giving us an amazing race. And I'd like to thank everyone watching for taking their time out to watch us do it out on track.
Nice. All right. And, let me ask you one more question. What are your thoughts about Snetterton coming up? It's kind of one of those, I guess, difficult, and I don't want to call it technical. It's kind of a cliche, but difficult, tight, and smallish course over in the UK. Have you had any laps out there?
I've done some laps out there. It was, in my opinion, I thought it was a lot of fun once you can get to stay without getting it off track for a lap, but I sadly won't be able to compete because of school, and that will be holding me back because our school doesn't end till an hour after this race, so I won't be able to compete, and I probably won't be able to compete for another couple of weeks until we get maybe a break for Friday, and then you can definitely count me in. But in my time driving Sanderson, or sorry, however you say it, it was a lot of fun. Definitely a very different track. I honestly didn't think it was too narrow, but that was just me. I like the curbs, everything about it. It's just a lot of fun in my opinion.
All right. Well, Ryan, you keep up with the studies, and we'll keep an eye out for you during spring break. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you the next time you're available.
Yeah, thank you, JR.
All righty. Take care. All right. Well, that is going to wrap up our interviews. And gosh, thank you so much for joining us for today's broadcast. This has been week 3 of 2025, season 1 of the Radical Esports Cup. And as we were discussing, be sure to join us next week for more Radical action over in the UK at Snetterton. And I am JR Gregory. On behalf of myself, my partner Aaron Smith, our producer Joshua Wilkie, and everyone here at Apex Racing TV, have a great Friday and an even better weekend.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.